crypto cats. My name is Tom, I am the crypto investor, and it's time for our weekly market roll-up. As ever, we start with a heat map of the top 100 coins in crypto, and you can see that for the 7th week in a row, we are green. Ethereum's up to $4,600, hitting all-time highs this week, up nearly 9% for the week. Other layer ones doing very well indeed. We have Solana hitting all-time highs, 250, Luna looking very nice, Avalanche, Matic, Cardano continuing to go back to probably where it should be, sticking at $2. Polkadot doing very well on the anticipated parachains. Bitcoin is sideways still, really just consolidating, getting ready for what is hopefully a nice parabolic move. Big growth continuing in the gaming and metaverse space. Tokens like Engine Coin, Axie, Sand. Wow, Sand up 226%, and we will talk about why that is shortly too. By the way, if you do like the content, if you find it useful, please do hit that like button, please do subscribe, please do share it with your mates. I really appreciate it. And I like reading your comments. Let's look at the bubbles. All right, so we would miss this, wouldn't we? Kadena, look at this. This has just only really entered the top 100. This is a new layer one token, which a lot of people are quite excited about. Many people feel that it has a chance of really getting up there into the top 10 as a very competitive layer one. So I will do maybe a separate video around this, but it's a proof of work token, but it seems to be extremely scalable, extremely efficient, and it has an amazing team. It even has a chap called Stuart Haber, who was one of the original inventors of the blockchain alongside Satoshi. So he's the most quoted person in the white paper for Bitcoin. So it's exploding onto the scene, up 200% this week. I think it's still about 65th by market cap. I bought a bag around $8, and I may well still add to it. I think it has a good chance of continuing this momentum. Loopring doing very well, the layer 2 roll up on the back of collaborating with GameStop. CRO, which is Crypto.com's native token, that's doing very well on the news. I believe that they are setting up their own blockchain as well. It seems to be all about having a layer one. That's where you make your money in this game. Solana doing 35% more. And that's up to 4th place now by market cap. You can see here Solana has overtaken Tether, Cardano. I was waiting for it to overtake Cardano because of course they don't really have a product yet. And yeah, it's great to see. It's great to see it moving very nicely. I expect it to cool off a little bit now. We will see, but I wouldn't bet against it. All right, let's just move into the layer ones. We're nearly up to 5 billion layer twos locked, nearly up to 5 billion locked in layer 2, which is great to see. Optimism really improving the amount of value locked in that roll up, which is decent to see there. And this is all just good for Ethereum. This is Ethereum scaling in real time. Talking of Ethereum, it had its first consecutive week of deflationary issuance. You know, when we talk about the burn and we talk about how much has been burned, well, the amount burned due to transaction volumes was more than was issued. That issuance, of course, is going to stop in April or so when we have the merge, but right now, and the burn will continue, right now the burn and the issuance have hit parity. So that is really important to understand. So if you look at the issuance of Ethereum, this is the supply, the total amount of Ethereum, you can see that 5 years ago in 2017, there were 87 million Ethereum tokens. There's now 117 million Ethereum tokens. But if we now look at what's happening in the last month, you can see that now we're flat. Ethereum will likely never reach 120 million tokens. And once the issuance is stopped in April and we have a fully deflationary currency, then this will obviously start to go down. And this is what this merge simulates. You can see that the supply will flatten and we will start to go down and down and down and down. So this is why it's ultrasound money, and this is why, for me, it is the best investment out there. All right, and just to compare that to understand the difference. So when you look at something like, I mean, even Bitcoin, of course, I think we've still got another 100 years of mining. Most of them have been issued, but we still have 10% more to be created. So, there is still another 2 million or so Bitcoin to be mined, whereas we're about to reach the supply cap for Ethereum. In fact, we basically, you could say that this week may well be, the week that we may have seen the peak. We may have seen the highest number of Ethereum in circulation of all time. It may now go down from there. And you compare that to, say, something like Kadena, that one I just said that I really value. There you go, it's 64th by market cap. So they have only released 16% of the total supply. This is probably my biggest umbrage with this token, is that we are only, we've got all these more tokens to be mined. So you really have to understand, it's quite a simple point to make, but understand the circulating supply. All right, what have we got? So Grayscale have filed to have a spot Bitcoin ETF. So we know we have the futures ETF, but they're barring an extension on the 24th of December, we may even have a spot ETF for Bitcoin. So, that would be the big deal, and that could be that catalyst that we're looking for the mad parabolic phase that many people seem to be anticipating. So we said the sandbox was rallying 200%. This is a Metaverse token. It's the one that Snoop Dogg's involved in. SoftBank, who seem to have bottomless pockets, have raised, put $93 million of capital into this. Every week, billions of dollars is flying into this space through VC money. Nike have issued this patent for selling virtual Nike tokens. Just think how easy it is for these businesses to not have to worry about supply chains and not have to worry about anything really than just selling their digital assets. So you think about how skins are valuable in games like Call of Duty. Well, imagine basically being able to sell NFT trainers. And I think the point that's really important here is that when you look at stocks and you look at companies like Nike, who may be struggling to find extra growth when they announce their earnings each month, what we will see is a new section on the earnings report, and it will be like digital growth, digital crypto growth, and it will be like 400% up. And what investors and moneymakers are most interested in is growth. They're not necessarily thinking about what the stock's doing right now. They want guidance, forward guidance, and indicative growth. And this could easily be the message that we see over the next 10 years of where the growth is coming from. It's that kind of metaversal growth, if that is. So this is big. This is what will make the big banks really pay attention to this space when they see it translated into bottom line. The Matrix, this is interesting as well. So the Matrix obviously launching a new film. They're launching 100,000 NFT avatars to go along with the film release. And this is just a really clever way that they can use crypto to advertise. So you could basically say, we've got 100,000 Matrix avatars to put on people's Twitter. And anyone that does that, when we take a timestamp, will perhaps get other benefits. So, they might get advanced viewing of a film, or they might get access to clips that weren't available. And so you can get people to advertise for you, proliferate your product through first buying your NFT, but then displaying your NFT to get bonus content. It's just endless. And it's not just the Matrix. Quentin Tarantino was at the NFT event in New York this week, and they are minting 7 scenes, or NFTs that represent 7 scenes from Pulp Fiction that will reveal secrets about the film. So this would be cool. It'd be great to see and learn more about the film. So it's just happening everywhere. Microsoft have said that they are also going to be a metaverse company. You forget these guys own the Xbox. Microsoft, by the way, became the most valuable company in the world this week, overtaking Apple again. And they are looking to provide over 90 services in powering the metaverse. The biggest companies in the world are betting on this space now. And this is also really cool. So Reddit are looking effectively to become the first social media company to fully adopt Web3. So the really cool thing about this, if you Reddit, you get rewarded karma, which are these tokens effectively that don't have any intrinsic value, for the more content that you produce. The better your content, the more karma you get. Now imagine if that karma is actually money, that money can then be sold, or the little items that you get awarded are NFTs, and there's rare ones and they're valuable. You end up with a social media space where the users are rewarded for good content. And it's not based on them being the product that's advertised to, it's based on simply rewarding good activity within the social media platform. And so the nice thing about Reddit is they've got nothing to lose. They don't have to cannibalize their existing revenue system, because they don't advertise very heavily like someone like Facebook. So they can quickly pivot to being a Web3 company that rolls out. So they're building on Ethereum, by the way. They're using Arbitrum to do this. And you will see very quickly that people love this. And the more time they spend on Reddit, the more tokens they're going to earn. It's like the play to earn concept. And it's this is just another paradigm shift of how we will structure our social media platforms in the future, and Reddit are going to front run it. The Winklevoss twins have just closed an $100 million Metaverse fund. Metaverse. It's everywhere. Just to confirm, the infrastructure bill went through this week with the ugly wording against crypto, but it doesn't go into effect until 2024. So this will all have to get ironed out in the courts, but if anyone is concerned about this legislation passing, we've still got 2 and a bit years in our pockets to get this ironed out in the court. So one would hope that is the case. Crypto.com, I mentioned that they are creating their own layer platform, and they're using Arbitrum. So again, this is just more transactions happening on layer 2 on Ethereum that is strengthening the case for layer 1 Ethereum. It's just, all getting built on top of it. We've seen Axie Infinity and SLP token pump this week because they have now released a DEX within called Kadena within Axie. So that's doing very well. Oh yeah, and if you have bought a .eth address, so if you've done the ENS, the Ethereum name service, so you've bought your name .eth or something like that, then you are entitled to an airdrop, and you get even more if you attached it to your MetaMask address. So I don't know how much it's going to be, but I've got one. So I sadly didn't attach it to my address, but airdrop coming your way if you have an ENS. What else do we have? Oh yeah, I did a podcast last week with BitLift called Keeping Up with Crypto, where I also talk about just many of the fundamental principles to live by when investing. So if you're interested, there is a link to that podcast below. And if you're looking to get broad exposure to the metaverse, I've mentioned numerous times MVI token, but many people have said it's prohibitively expensive to buy MVI token because you've got to pay $150 in gas. Well, they now are on Polygon. So if you change your MetaMask to Polygon, connect to SushiSwap, you can now change Matit token to MVI without paying high gas fees. So that is pretty useful. Right, goodness me, there's a lot. Let's jump into the charts. So we'll start, we'll start with the total market cap of crypto. We are moving up nicely. So this week is our 7th consecutive up week for crypto. We are now sitting at a market cap of $2.75 trillion. So we have added this week 5% of value. We've had another $131 billion of value to the crypto market cap. It's been a very nice move indeed. Looking at Bitcoin, basically we've just gone sideways for a month now. So, you could say that this is a bull flag, and that perhaps we're just building up momentum. It's the longer we can move sideways, the higher really we are building that energy for that impulsive move upwards. So even though it's a bit boring, it's not necessarily bad for Bitcoin. And I have this kind of wedge pattern here, which we have been in. I think for me, a breakout happens this week. And for me, it happens to the upside. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Bitcoin taking out that all-time high over the next few days or so. We basically have 4 days until that wedge finishes. So I would surmise that we have a couple of days really until we get that move to the all-time highs, which would be 7%, and then hopefully much more beyond there. Looking at Ethereum, wow. I mean, it's just held this channel. So just going back to Bitcoin, we were looking at this channel and then we lost it and went sideways. Ethereum just doesn't seem to lose this channel. Twice it's looked like we were breaking, 3 times in fact, it looked like we were breaking down below it, but buyers stepped in. And this is just extremely bullish activity. And we are really, right now we have this resistance here at 4,600, which we failed to have a daily close above, and we're testing it right now. Daily close above here, likely we start our march to 5,000. 5,000 will be a psychological barrier for the market, but really, really strong bullish action here for Ethereum, just holding this channel very nicely indeed. And if we drill down to the smaller time frames, the way to kind of play this, what I've been doing is that you get these little bull flags where market moves up, drifts sideways, and then you just look at a resistance line following that, and then as soon as you break it, that's a very bullish entry. So I expect the same again. You can see it's kind of copied this pattern. So we'll probably get our flagpole, our flag, and then that's a good time to enter in once it breaks it again. Flagpole, flag, enter. Obviously until we lose that channel or we break the upper limit, but really looking very strong. And that strength is represented fairly well on the ETH versus Bitcoin chart. You can see that for the 4th consecutive week, Ethereum is up versus Bitcoin. Ethereum has gained 24% in value versus Bitcoin. We are coming to the top of this. This is where the big technical traders are looking to sell a bit of their Ethereum for Bitcoin up here. So, of course, at some point we will take out the 50% flippening, which is when the market cap of Ethereum is worth more than half of that of Bitcoin. But right now we are starting to get expensive. If you are looking to move some of your Bitcoin into Ethereum, then I would either wait for the break of the 50% and these highs that we put in here, or for us to come back down and retest this trend line here. And this translates into Bitcoin dominance as well. You can see that Bitcoin's dominance, and we use this as an indicator of alt season, Bitcoin's dominance is down to 42.5%. And has fallen in the last 3 weeks by 11% or so. And it's looking like we're going to come and test the 40% range. And you just have to think about how, as we put more and more tokens into this space, Bitcoin's dominance, it will always get squeezed out as we crowd the space with more and more tokens. So it's, for me, an inevitability that we get down here. This is the all-time low of 35% printed when Ethereum very nearly flipped Bitcoin. But I expect this number to come back down. If you look at this as well, we've put in a lower high here and a higher low here. And I would expect us probably to put in a higher low down here and come and test here around 38 or so. So we will see how that pans out. Looking at the Ethereum dominance, again, coming right into its summit here, we typically see Ethereum sell off a little bit as we come into that 20% dominance area. And so, that I do expect that to stop at some point and for us to break it. But this is some heavy resistance for Ethereum's overall dominance within the total market cap of crypto. So if we get a chance to buy at, if we get a chance to get down to 17% dominance, great time to buy. But typically 20% is not a great entry to be adding to your Ethereum. Long term, I do think we break this. But if you're looking at smaller time frames, then it's not a perfect time. But maybe we break it this week, who knows? Looking at Solana, this is something which is building its dominance. Now 2.77% of the total market cap, also holding quite a nice upward channel. Solana is really making impressive strides upwards. The all-time high was smashed this week, and this is the weekly chart. Each one of these candles is a week. We didn't consolidate sideways very long. I can delete that, and we just continue to move upwards. So yeah, it's flying, absolutely flying. Maybe getting a little expensive certainly versus Ethereum in my opinion, but I wouldn't bet against it really pushing on further. There is a huge amount of belief in the Solana project. Looking at the Metaverse index, so this is valued in Ethereum, don't forget, and the Metaverse index, which are the top tokens in Metaverse space, just like an ETF, has in the last 2 weeks grown at 65% more than Ethereum. So another 16% this week. There is so much hype and excitement in this space, and as I said, like the Winklevoss twins have just built a $100 million Metaverse fund. Maybe we push on much further from here. And DeFi continues to be the most depressing chart in crypto. This is DeFi versus Ethereum. However, it has just put a green candle in. We've seen this before, not expecting necessarily a reversal here, but yeah, it's not pretty. Of course, if we value DeFi in US dollars, it's easy to be valued against the US dollar, isn't it? Then it has just had its 4th consecutive week and is looking at its highest close since April. So there is some life in the DeFi space. Terra Luna up to 51, closing at an all-time high, holding the channel very nicely. I wanted to just share this. This is Cardano's dominance. So Cardano token I don't believe in, but you can see Cardano was growing in dominance. So the total market cap of crypto, it got to 4.3% of the total market cap. And that was its peak. That's when it said, we've got smart contracts. Didn't work. And then since then, it has dropped in dominance 45% and also lost this channel. So if you're a Cardano holder, maybe think about this and the direction it's going. Optimism in Cardano seems to be dwindling. The market doesn't lie. And KDA I mentioned. So KDA is my exciting L1 pick for now. I've built a nice position in this, and I think it goes further. I mean, the momentum is extraordinary. Look at it fly. As soon as it pulls back, there is insatiable buying coming in. We've just formed on the hourly chart a bull flag, which has just broken to the upside. So I expect a continuation pushing up to 20 over the next few days or so, maybe in the next few hours. But yeah, KDA looking really, really strong. Quite a lot of excitement around that. All right, that's it, Crypto Cats. Thanks for staying to the end, and happy investing, everyone. I hope you found it useful, and I will speak to you soon. All the best.